This is Mr. Martin. These are the video notes for Pre-Calculus Honors Section 6.2. This is day 1 of law of cosine. So we've been talking about law of sines, and in order to use the law of sines you need to be given specific information. So we need to be given any side of the triangle and its corresponding angle. Okay, without the side and the angle that goes with it, you can't use law of sines. So for the next two cases that we're going to talk about, we're not going to have a side and an angle that goes with it, so we need to use a different method. So what we're going to be using is the law of cosine. Now, these are the formulas for law of cosines, and we'll look in class on how to derive these. And these three particular forms of law of cosines we're going to use to find sides. Now, you can use these to find angles. You would just need to substitute in what you know and then solve for angle A, angle B, or angle C. Or if you prefer, you can solve these for cosine A in this case. So cosine A, if we solve that, it's going to be b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. Alright, and then remember, if you want to get a, you'll have to do the cosine inverse of the answer that you get here. And then if we solve this one for cosine b, we're going to get a squared plus c squared minus b squared over 2ac. And then this one, if we solved it for c, we would get cosine of c is equal to a squared plus b squared minus c squared all over 2ab. Now, there are patterns for both of these formulas, so as you look at it with the triangle, try and think about the pattern that you have, and then it's not really memorizing the formula, it's just more memorizing a pattern of the pieces of the triangle. And I'll try and point that out as we go. So there's our formulas, and let's take a look at an example. So this is a side angle side example. Remember, we talked a lot about the ambiguous case, and you only need to consider two triangles if it's the ambiguous case, which was the side-side angle case. So here's ABC, and I'm given that side A is 2, side B is 3, angle C is 60 degrees. So notice I have two sides and the included angle, and the first thing that we're going to be able to find is side C. So I know that C squared. So anytime we're trying to find a side, it's going to be the two sides squared that the angle is included by. So it's going to be 2 squared plus 3 squared, and then minus 2 times the product of those two sides, so 2 times 3, and then times the cosine of the angle. Alright, so this is going to give us some number, and to find C, remember to take the square root of whatever answer you get from up above here. I'm just going to put equals answer. So make good use of your answer key on your calculator, and if you plug this in, you should get approximately 2.646, and then remember, if there's units, include units in the problem. So we need to still find A, we still need to find B. We know C is 60 degrees, we know that A is 2, we know that B is 3, and we just found out that C is 2.646. Alright, so at this point, again, I'm going to use law of cosines, except I'm going to use the form for the angle. So I'm going to put in 2.646, and I'm going to find angle B next. So I know that the cosine of B, again, notice the pattern. It's going to be the sides that B is included by squared. So it's going to be 2.646 squared plus 2 squared, and then we're going to subtract the side that it corresponds to, so minus 3 squared divided by 2 times 2.646 times 2. Okay, so notice these two sides that the angle's included by, or that include the angle, go first, and then they're also in the denominator, and this is going to give us again an answer. And then in order to find b, I need to take the cosine inverse of that answer. Feel free to pause if you're checking the calculations along with me to see if you get the same answer. And you should get 40.892 degrees. Alright, so here we've got 40.892 degrees. And now that we have two of the angles, it's just a matter of subtracting the two angles that we have from 180. So 40.892 and 60, and that should give us 79.108. Alright, so as always, if you have questions, make sure you take the time to pause the video and write down those questions to ask me the next time you see me. And if you think I made a mistake in the video, it's always a good idea to point that out to me as well. Alright, so there's an example of side angle side. Here's one more example. I'm going to let you try that. Now, be careful here because my triangle is FDE, so I'm just going to label this FDE, and then I know side E, which is opposite angle E, is going to be 22 centimeters. Angle F is 103 degrees, obviously not drawn to scale. And side D, opposite angle D, is going to be 13. So go ahead and pause the video and work this one out, and then when you restart the video you will have the solution to this problem so you can check. Here's the solution for this example problem. So we found side F first. Again, remember to take the square root of your answer and use the answer key on your calculator. If you're not sure where that is, make sure that you ask me or somebody else in class. And then, so I use law of cosines to find the side, then I use law of cosines to find the angle, and then once I had two of the angles, I had E and F, I could just subtract those two from 180 to get D. So if you didn't get any of this right and you're not sure where you went wrong, make sure that you ask me. Otherwise, let's move on to the next video. If you need to pause this to check your answers, go ahead and do that and restart it to check or to take a look at the next example. So here's example 2. We've got side, side, side. So I'm going to, as always, start with a sketch of our triangle. So I'm just going to draw my generic triangle ABC. So I've got 4 over there, I've got 3 over here, and I've got 6 over here. Now, an important note that I want to mention here is that whenever I'm solving a problem like this, I always like to start by finding the largest angle. Find largest angle first. Now, if you're going to use law of cosines throughout the entire problem, this doesn't become as much of an issue. But sometimes once you find one piece of information, you may want to use law of sines now that you have a side and an angle that goes with it. And what you may run into if you don't find the largest side first is you may inadvertently create an ambiguous case for a piece of information that you're finding. So I usually, when I use law of cosines, I just use it to find the first two pieces of information because I find that there's less chance of introducing inadvertently that ambiguous case. But if you want to try it the other way, feel free. Just caution you to be careful when you're finding that second piece of information. So the largest angle is going to be opposite the longest side, so that's going to be side C is the longest. So I'm going to find angle C first, so I know that the cosine of C, again, I'm going to look at my pattern. So I'm going to use the two sides that C is included by, so that's 4 squared plus 3 squared. And then it's going to be minus the side that it corresponds to, so that's 6 squared. And then 2 times 4 times 3, and that's going to give us an answer. So C is going to be the cosine inverse of that answer. And that turns out to be 117.280 degrees. So I've got A, B, which we're still going to find. Those two. C is 117.280. And we were given all the sides, so I'm going to leave that out of my chart there. Okay, and then I'm going to use law of cosines one more time, and I'm going to find the next largest angle, so that would be A. So A is going to be the cosine inverse. I'm going to do this in one step now. So let's see, here's A, so it's going to be these two sides squared and added. So it's going to be 6 squared plus 3 squared minus 4 squared over 2 times 6 times 3. So I'm going to feel free to do this in as many steps as you need to. So cosine inverse of that one is going to be 36.336 degrees. So I've got 36.336. And then to find angle B, I'm just going to subtract the two angles that I know already from 180, because I know the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. And this should give me 26.384 degrees. So we've got 26.384 degrees. Again, if you have any questions, take the time to pause the video and write them down and ask me the next time you see me. Let's move on to the last problem. Here's your turn to give it a try. So go ahead and pause the video if you like and work this out, and then you can check your answer. Otherwise, if you keep the video rolling, it's just going to pop up right away. So pause, work this out, and then restart when you're ready. Here's our solution to the last problem in these notes. Here's your values for the three angles that you should have gotten. Again, notice that I found the largest angle first, and then I found the second largest angle, and I just used law of cosines twice. Even though you can use law of sines once you find this angle, you just have to be careful that you're not inadvertently adding in the ambiguous case to the problem. So go ahead and check your answers and pause the video if you need to, and we will see you in the next video.